It's been a couple of weeks since we got the diagnosis for that has three types of cancer, and he's actually been back again the following Thursday to see the head oncologist in the department, and she was quite emphatic that the treatment was unlikely to work, and Dad was quite adamant that he was going to beat it, and he's still in that kind of frame of mind. Although I did see him this weekend gone, I went round to clean the house and to help them out on the Saturday, and he was struggling. He'd been out for his normal morning walk, and he often goes on the beach, down the hills onto the seafront, and then back up at the other end and takes it steady. But he's just been sticking to the flats and not going up and down the hills, and even then he was struggling. Yeah. Mum is much more aware that there's something significantly wrong with Dad, potentially end of life wrong. She knows it's really serious. So thankfully that's somehow through the Alzheimer's, that's gradually moved from being a short-term thing to a longer-term thing. That's gradually registered. And she does struggle with the details, like if you say about a certain hospital appointment or whatever, and she wonders what that's for, or gets a little bit confused as to kind of the details about what's going on. But she does know it is registering that there is something significantly wrong with Dad, and and it's hard to miss with the way his face looks now. I've been describing it as craterous because it is. It's hideous. There is no other. I don't have any other way to describe it. It's just such an awful thing to have to experience, and I know he finds that soul destroying. I was going to tangent then. The reason why for the long pause was my brain was working overtime, because I've seen this with several people, including some of my friends, when they've actually had a facial paralysis, albeit temporary. And people don't realise the impact that not looking the same as everybody else, or generally like everybody else, people don't realise the impact that has. And my dad's struggling, and I know he's struggling with that aspect too. The fact that you can't hide it. You can't hide stuff like that. And it's only when my friends and other people have kind of been through a similar experience to me with that they've actually understood what I've kind of put up with. But this isn't that kind of tangent. I don't want to kind of head down that tangent, but I kind of do in a sense, because I just want to say, if you know somebody who's having an issue like that, please be considerate, because it has massive psychological ramifications. More so than you might think. It often gets banded down as vanity, or and people's feelings about these things are downgraded as just being vanity orientated, and it's not. It has a massive psychological impact. Anyway, let's get back off that tangent. So that's where we're at the moment. We've had another letter saying about Dad going into hospital for some kind of operation where they do the umbrella down the penis shaft with a view to helping remove some of the bladder cancer issues. However, that's been superseded because it's Monday the 6th of July, and tomorrow, Tuesday the 7th, Dad has an appointment at Cross Lane Hospital in Cottingham to see radiotherapist / chemotherapist, and to discuss what the treatment options are going to be there. I'll be going through to spend the day with Mum to make sure that she's okay, and Jeanette will go through with Dad to Cross Lane. She'll be there now. I mean, it's coming up to 8 o'clock at night, and Jeanette she'll be there because they're going off relatively early tomorrow morning. She wants to be there and ready, and I'll drive through tomorrow morning and stay with Mum. But yeah, that's where we're at. I'm currently, as we kind of speak, I've just been in touch with Macmillan, because we're going to look. Well, if you've seen the previous videos, you'll know that Dad had agreed that we'd try and do something for Macmillan, and so I've just been looking at the fundraising options for Macmillan. People keep asking me how I feel about what's going on, and I go through mixed things. I mean, like there's this. If I just put this little clip up, I recorded this today while I was working, and I go through periods of where while I'm working, my brain will sort of like overrun with thoughts on what's going on and kind of things that I kind of want to deal with, but how to approach them is just such a tentative and sensitive issue. But then that rekindles all the senses of loss and so on, and the pain that all this is going to bring, and then what Dad's going through himself and how he might be feeling and so on. So I'm very aware that I've been feeling very tired, not particularly creative, and yeah, and I know why. It's because I'm perpetually trying to distract myself. I'm thinking about a lot of creative things. About what I'm going to do with certain YouTube videos and footage that I've got that I need to, that's ready to be edited and honed into videos and so on. And it's taken me a while to get around to making a start on these because I'm just not feeling it, because I'm feeling too tired to do it. And also the reason for that is because I've got this, all this emotional stuff going on, and I'm trying to do my best to kind of distract myself from that too. So because otherwise I'd just be in floods constantly. It would be overwhelming, and obviously I can't function like that. So I'm quite skilled at distracting myself. However, that does come at a price, because your brain's trying to do one thing and it wants to go through those kind of processes and and the emotional kind of processes, and I'm not really letting that happen at the moment. Or when I do, I'm letting it happen in dribs and drabs. The thing that got me in that little clip I just showed you while I was vacuuming earlier, the thing that got me today was it's just such a painful thing to think about discussing. What I kind of want to ask Dad is, it doesn't matter if this happens now or further down the line, because he beats it or holds it off or whatever, but at some point we're closer and closer to that stage, and they're making preparations for all those kind of things too. And so I think the ultimate preparation is how do you want to go out? Do you want to go out no pain-free and with your family around you, or do you want to just kind of drift off into your sleep? Because I think if there's an opportunity to make to make it happen the way you want. Then I think it's important that we try to make that happen. And the reason why I think that is important is me, Mum, and Grandma, one of my other grandmas, were there when the grandma on Dad's side. We were there when all three of us were with Grandma Flo, Queenie, as she was affectionately called towards the end. We were there with her when she died, holding her hand and so on. And although it was horrible in the sense of being traumatic, it was really quite a precious moment. And it's something if that's what he wants, I'd like to do that. I think the reason why the thought of this one hurts so much is, as I've said in other videos, at least I think I've said this, I'm not great at relationships. I'm 51 as I record this. Never really settled down with anybody. The relationships I've had have lasted a couple of years. I haven't got kids. There's no kids. And I strongly suspect that when it's my time, it's going to be a lonely one. And I don't want anybody that I care about to go out that way if they don't want to. And we prepare so many things to do with death and dying, like wills and powers of attorney and all those kind of things. But all that stuff is important. I just don't think it's the most important thing. But how do you approach this? I don't know yet. I mean, obviously you can tell if you're watching this that at the time of recording this I haven't approached it. And maybe there'll be another kind of follow-up to this where I tell you whether I did it and how I did it. Painful on this one. I'm going to leave this there.